Okay. I'm going to videotape what, excuse me, what nobody's ever videotaped before. It's a common occurrence on a Kawasaki Concours, and it's a common breakage, and we're going to go through, fix it, and show ways how to modify the parts to make them last longer. And the problem I'm talking about is the dreaded windshield bracket breaking. Now, underneath all this, there's a Y piece that is cast, and it comes down to a track down here. Up here, these pieces right on rails. And it's the end piece where you have the problem, because it's a little C channel like that, and it slides in that. But I'm guessing right now, because I haven't tore into it, and what I'm going to do is take the windshield off, take these screws out and 2 pop rivets, and pop that off, and take a look at that Y piece and the channel, and we'll assess after I do that what we're going to do to fix it. Because I'll tell you right off the bat, this is the 15 model, the redesigned model. The 15 models, when they did a lot of redesigning and stuff, especially body work, and there's underneath here they did some upgrades on some parts. Guess what? The parts are still not that strong. But if you got a Concours and you haven't had this problem happen yet, please stay tuned, and I'll show you some things that you need to know, because just the kit for underneath here is $1,850, or they may sell you part of it for around $850, but then you're still looking at about 2 to 4 hours installation time and all that crap. So you're still looking at $1,200–1,300 if you think about it and all. But let me see what I can get into and fix from what I've been studying and going through. I also have to replace this piece, because that's how hard that wind was. It snapped that. So yes, these big windshields are sales, and that's what causes that, but I don't want nothing less. I have been without a windshield for a long time. Tired of getting bugs on my screen or on my face shield, and so I want to be behind a good windscreen. So let me take this apart. We'll see what kind of damage we got, and we'll go at it from there. Okay, I've got the cover off. This is the part in question. What happens is that force is pushed against this by the windshield, and this has a C channel. If you look right where my finger is, it's broken. So that piece is broken and fallen off, and is probably on the road to nowhere somewhere. But you can see this is supposed to be against this. This is the guide. This is part of the Teflon or plastic piece that would fit up. Yeah, you see the tab will fit into that, and it will glide up and down like that. And it's a small piece of cast aluminum, so it has no strength. And this is a redesigned part. This part supersedes the other parts, I believe from 2015 down. And anyhow, to get this part, if you go to your parts store, bare minimum, you get about this whole stupid kit, and that is Best price I found is $825, up to a high of 1,000 or 900 and oh, you know what I'm talking about. It's just a bend over proposition. What I'm going to do is remove these screws and possibly this one. The trick that I got, that the guys I got to thank the people in Australia. They love the concourses. They figured out a way, if was to cut a channel into this and put a bolt through there using, you know, 2 cushions or slides, that it will hold it down stronger. And the highest it goes is probably where that hole would be that held that notch for that. But while I'm off, I'm going to open this case and squirt some lube in there to make sure that thing was good. I'm going to grease these tracks down inside here, make sure this thing is in that track good and working good. But the fix that the Australian guys have is the best that's out there. Now, I'll do a later video, but I'm going to take this piece off and do a little cleaning and call it a day, because it's my day off and I'm going to go out and have fun. But anyhow, that gives you a good idea where the work. This can be done preventive work. Like, say, if yours isn't broken, you should be able to do this trick running a screw through here between 2 pieces of Teflon or plastic as a guide after this is machined, you know, got a slot in it. And that is a way to keep, you know, you got a big windshield. That's a lot of force being put on that. That's why these break. And even after Kawasaki did the modifications, they still break. Broken edge right there, you can see it. And I do not see the part, so I'm sure it's down on the road somewhere where I was riding. But anyhow, I got some work to do, and I'll show you some more videos. So let's call it quits on this one. Okay, as you can see, I've removed it out of the way. I'm guessing these are okay. Doesn't look, I'm going to look for damage and stuff like that. I'm going to lube behind this by loosening 1, 2, 3, I guess 4. I know at least 3. Maybe stick a little lithium spray grease behind that. Everybody says WD-40, but WD-40 evaporates. So, and then I want to probably put, after I put all this together, I want to put sealant in there. But I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about getting this other stuff fixed. You can see there's Loctite that was in there. Damn, that's plastic, man. Okay, let's look at the bad parts. Let's get them out here in the yard where we can see them. Okay, as you remember, it was up like that. When you flip it over, you see the damage. That little piece, all it did was just come up a little bit and go across. So, it being cast, it's foobarred. And the only way to buy this this thing is either with a salvage bike, which you're more than likely going to see a front end collision and this will be screwed up anyhow, or buy a new one. Minimum price in the little systems be $850 to up to $1,000. And this is the bottom piece. This is the slide, and there's the brace that goes on it. The Australian guys, I give them all the credit. They machined a slot into this, and they run a strong bolt, nut bolt through this, and put a, what would you call it? Like a Teflon washer or something on there to make it slide. So that way it's staying put, but it still has the ability to slide up and down. It's pretty ingenious, and all the credit goes to the Australian guys. Now, I'm not going to clean this. The reason is I want to know where that track is. You see that slide? That's part of that piece of plastic that was sliding over it. It looks like a C-channel, and it was sliding over that. But Kawasaki redesigned this part to be stronger, and look at that. It wasn't that much stronger. So here we are, back to modifying stuff to make it better. So anyhow, all credit goes to the Australian Concours guys, because they were the ones that come up with this. And I guess I'll be the first one to put this on YouTube to show how it is done and how this modification works and how to do it. So I'm going to stop this thing for now and clean my hands and do other things. Anyhow, catch you on that the next one. Okay. This is the bracket that breaks, and as you can see, I put the piece of plastic in. So if you look at it, the piece that attached here went underneath it, so it does a U shape, and it sandwiches that this piece in between here. But I want to show you something. See, it's got a curve, it's got a ramp to it, and it'll go, see, it's got a hook up here at the top. It'll go under and slide that little button right there, puts it right in the center. You can see where that grease mark is. So I wanted to show that to you. This mounts like this, and it has a brace that goes on it too. So it'll go just like this and go up and down on that guide. So I wanted to show, this is the piece that's missing, is off here. But anyhow, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Okay, something important I was wanting to show. This is the guide. This is what that bottom piece slides underneath, and this will be the underside of it. I've cleaned all the grease off it, and it leaves a mark, and that's where the Teflon button on that little slide piece rides on it. This side has no pressure on it normally. The top up here has a stop for when it comes up underneath, like where my finger is, and stops. I wanted to show you that there's a bow to it, and that's how that windshield gets that little curve as it's going up and down. I was looking at nuts and bolts, and these are 10mm, and I have a selection of them. I found one with a lock nut probably going to be about this length, and that should be 1 inch. The thing I was going to show you guys is that when you do this, you're going to have to space. Well, let me get that set up to where it's okay. You're going to have to, when you cut your slot into this, you're going to have to space it over far enough to where this nut on this back side will not hit over here. So you're going to have to space it out like that. And you're going to have to make sure about stuff like that. Because if it's over up against this, you're not going to be able to get that nut on there. And on this side, this is the back side, I want to put that lock nut on there. So that'll probably be my operation tomorrow, is to get that channel cut. And then after that, I'll have to figure out something to put underneath that nut as that will slide on that. So a lot of guys were talking about smaller hardware, like a 4mm, 6mm. This is a 10mm head, and I just don't want that booger to ever break down. So that's what I wanted to show just on this. Also, if you look at this line, you see that it skews. It goes from this side up that way a little bit. So, but here's the deal. Once you cut that slot in there, you will have to drill your hole to where where it fits in there. But more on that later. Okay, I went down to the nut and bolt store and I got a tap for, it's a 10mm bolt. It's the head is 10mm. The shank, or the diameter of this, is 6mm. So that bolt right there is 6mm. No, this is 6mm. So that is slightly smaller than 6mm. And I should have thought of that, because I need to drill the slot that I'm going to put in that bracket has to be wider than this bolt. And I should have thought of that when I was down there and got one. But I have this drill gauge, and this 10mm bolt goes into right there. That is 15/64. So I found the drill bit, 15/64. And what I'm going to do on this bracket is drill where the ends are, at both ends, as my start. Now what I'll do is I'll mark a straight line, because that's something else I'm going to have to do, is try to figure out how to keep that straight. Drill a hole, and then I'll grind in between it and make a slot. So let me get busy. I don't want my camera around flying sparks and stuff like that, so let me get busy working on this. Okay, I marked, let me get this set up right. From this edge over to here, 1/4 inch, 0.75. From here to here. And then I put that's a little bit over the mark, and that's right on it where the tab stops. So the hole will be right, and that should be where I need to start. Now I notice that you're going to notice that this line right here doesn't skew straight with this line, and like I said, there may have been a little cattywampus to it, but anyhow, that's how I'm going to do it. This is the top up here, and this will be the bottom. I'll drill a hole right there and right there with the 15/64. This bit is what fits in that hole. And when I tap the top piece, I'll have to use the smaller drill bit. so I have threads left to tap. Okay, so that's where I'm at right now. Okay, a quick rundown before I start grinding. I'm going to use gloves, a face shield to protect my face. I got an angle grinder, and I got an assortment of, I'm going to say that's an 1/8 inch wheel. And I got to use a tool, take that off, and put it on a, I believe it's a 4-inch angle grinder, 4 or 5 inch. I have my holes drilled, and I'm going to brace myself up against this. And like I said, I got my safety equipment set up, and I'm just going to start going go down that line, and in between these two holes. And in fact, I may get my marker out again and put another line at each edge. That way I know that, you know, got extra lines there. But I have to remove that area in between there. So that's what I'm going to do with the grinder. Anyhow, let me put up the camera because I don't want no grit and grime getting on it. Okay. I made a couple of passes. I didn't show this, but I went down and I put a few more drill marks, or drilled holes, I'm sorry. And I think 1, 2, 3 down the middle to give me a line to go by. I made a few passes, and what I'm using is this 10mm, and I'm going in and checking. Now I know it won't fit through, but what I'm going to do now is put it in the vise right here and lock it down. And I'm going to take this file, and I'm going to go down here and run this down to where I can get this 10mm to fit good through here. I want it to be a relatively tight fit, and also with that file I'm going to take any, like you can see them filings and rough stuff off, and that's what I'm doing right now. So let me put this up and go to work. Okay, boys and girls, look at what I got. I used a very light touch while I was doing this, and the idea of using the file while having it in the vise was a great idea. I just got through sanding all the stuff. I mean, it's butter smooth, and that's what it needs to be. And it looks like a bird right there, but it's not really. Anyhow, that, there it is. See how that just fits right in there? See? I'm doing all this one-handed. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to bolt this on and make sure I have my length, which is how far it goes up and how far it goes down, set. And then I'm going to have to figure out how long of a bolt to use. Now this is a 8.8 is around a grade 5. What I did is when I went to my nut and bolt place, I got a bunch of, it's not quite grade 9 stuff. Well, it's okay. Now there's the nylon washers I'm going to use. Where'd it go? Okay. Now I got various lengths and all, and most of these are grade be 8.8, so it'd be close to a 9. And I got them in varying lengths, excuse my language, because I don't know exactly what yet length I'll need, and that I'll figure out tomorrow. But I got all that different stuff so I could put in my nut and bolt pile over there, and also so I don't have to go running to the store to get the right part. I had everything here. I wanted to finish it. But it's getting a little bit late today, and so that was a good accomplishment to get that done. I think I'll sand just a little bit more on that, but I'm going to call that good. And tomorrow I have to install this on the bike to get all them situated on where I'm going to drill a hole on the bracket, the Y piece, or the wishbone bracket that's on there, and get figuring out a way to finish this off. So I did a good amount of work today. As you can see, my workstation's always a mess. If it's not a mess, it means you're not doing anything. So anyhow, I'm going to sand some more on that and call it good, and we'll do some more work tomorrow. So stay tuned. Sorry. Okay. These are 10mm bolts. And I took these out and I put wheel grease underneath here. And there's a drum, and it has two grooves where the cables come in on this side and this side. And I put some wheel bearing grease inside there. I didn't put a lot, and also there's a gear behind there, a big gear and then a small gear right under here. And I put some lube on it so it all would stay lubed. Now I put this at the top. The bottom stays open. Like you can see, there's air gap in there so air can get in and out. But I didn't want any drips coming down to be able to get inside it, and that's why I did the lube like that. These I put red Loctite back on all these and snugged them down. I didn't put it real tight because it's against a plastic body right here. But that's something a little extra I did right there to help this out. Off to the next video. Okay. As you can see, I got it bolted up, this piece. And it's kind of hard to see with the shadow, but I marked a stripe that corresponds with that groove that I made into this bracket. Now I was hoping I could use the hole right there, but the hole doesn't line up. If I go down, it exposes about half of that. And if I was to take that off, I would weaken that up too much. And so I think I got it, about in the middle where I have the proper amount of strength. And that means I'm going to have to drill right into that rib. So what I'm going to do is from here over to right about here, I'm going to grind that rib down. When I think about it, it's not going to make it any weaker. So that's how I'm going to get past that. Because you can see this rib goes right along, this line goes right along that. But I've been testing it, going up and down and stuff. And yeah, you could see that black mark lines up with that. So let me get to doing some more work. Okay, real quick, I ground about half of that thing away, and I put my mark excuse me, put my mark back, and I'm going to pick just about the middle. So you can see that mark lines up with that tube right there, or that groove, I'm sorry. You can see when I push it down how it lines up. May have to do some work on this side for the bolt head, but I'll figure that out once I get it drilled and then tapped. And the thing is, I come out and I bolt it up every time. That way I know that when I bolt it up, it lines all this up. And you can see the hole, the metal is in the hole where the hole is. Anyhow, let me go drill and tap and get back. Okay, I had to do a lot of work against that wall to get that bolt head to clearance that, using both a hand file and then a small Dremel. But then I noticed something. This flat side is different than the other flat side over there. And if I was to recommend, if you was to mark it on this side and somehow drill it on this side, you can get that straighter. I believe it'll still work. Damn, I don't like that. Anyhow, I beveled all these edges right here, took some of that sharpness off. This is what's going to glide against the, it's going to glide against this piece. So let me do some more testing and see what I come up with. Okay. In checking this thing out, that little plastic tab, if you look at it, it's about the thickness of this washer. And I drilled these washers out to a 1/4 size where my thumb is, because the 15/64, which is the shank diameter of that screw right there, was a little tight. And I've been testing. I had to go back and file. See how that goes all the way through? I had to take a file and file at this top area. And also I've been relieving all these areas and making them smooth. That way that there's not going to be any catching. But I need to put a washer there, and I need to put one on the inside. It's going to be, and here's the thing, I'm either going to have to grind it down the edge or bend it. So I got to figure out what to do on that. So let me get busy again. Okay, just to show you guys, I ended up putting 2 washers right there, thread lock on them threads of that, and I got this bolted together because that's pretty much the easiest way that I could install all this. I can install that and install that much easier if this is put together like that. Now, these were called fender washers, and I had to drill them out for the size of this shank here, which is 1/4 inch diameter on the inside. And then you could see I beveled this edge and made it a D shape. That is so it could slide, and I had to use my file and go through there and make sure that this could slide very easily. So I have to install this and bolt everything down, and then I'm going to go, when it's on the bike, underneath with this and adjust that on making it either tighter or looser to get the right amount of tension. I don't want it sloppy and I don't want it tight on this. And I'll do another video after I get it put on and do some testing. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, I've got it bolted in, and I've been, you can see that it's got some clearance, but let me go. So I'm saying that's going to be pretty tight. And the thing is, this is what I'm after. Goes down, comes up even. I put a thread locker on these are 10 millimeters and these are 8 millimeter, and I put thread lock on that also. This is aluminum, so don't bear down on it. Snug it up good. This is plastic, so snug it down. Don't bear it on it. But see that? So see, it's not jamming. It's going smooth. So I'm going to call this a successful day. The next one I'll have the rest of the stuff. I got to get new gaskets on the outside, and this piece of plastic that fits over the trim broke, and these are, I hear that they break a lot. So I was hoping that somebody made a billet trim piece, but nobody does. And that would be a great opportunity for somebody, you know, it's got a CNC and wants to get some work done, is to digitize them trim pieces and make them stronger and better, them trim pieces out of billets, you know, billet aluminum. But guys, I did it, and this is all thanks to the Australian guys, who on their forum they sent me the all the links and how they did everything, and it took me a while to figure out, you know, because I didn't get the pictures, and once I got the pictures in, then I figured it all out. But nobody had put this on video, and I'm doing this on video to show the rest of the world how to do this. Was this easy to do? No. It was a pain in the ass, and I'm being very mild about it. A good do-it-yourselfer can do this. A good do-it-yourselfer, yeah, could probably do that. But you see how I had to grind away that piece and where I had to drill and how I made this slot. Now, I put this slot right there on purpose to get as much meat and for it to be as strong as possible. Everything was just that I thought of was to make this as strong as possible. Now I can feel just a little bit of clearance, and that's all I need, is just a little bit of clearance. And I did not use them nylon washers like I said I would. I ended up sanding these washers down to make them smooth, and this I sanded quite a bit too to make it smooth. There's no rough edges or anything inside there, and that's what you need. The next video will be of this completed, so I'm going to call this one for now. Okay, guys, I got it together. Now, a couple important things. This model is a 2015. What I'm doing is installing a windshield from a 2015. So there were some different things done with it. You see that normally there's two screws with the, I guess with the 14 or whatever, there's a hidden screw underneath here. But I was running these without these gaskets underneath here. So I had to wait for all these parts to come in. The screw, the washer that's underneath here, the gaskets, and this is the new one. This is the one that busted. It broke right across here. I got it all put back together. All the screws, I used this Torque Lock gel. It has a pump top where it comes out, so it doesn't freeze up. It doesn't freeze, which means my shop gets, you know, cold, and this is easy to apply to get your thread lock on. But I finally got it back together, and it's working good. Let's stand back and I should have cleaned the windshield when it was off, and I didn't, because getting to these areas underneath here are pretty hard. But turn that off, bring that back up. Now I do have the shield up here. I've been adjusting it to get to right setup because this windshield is not high enough for me. But the system, I did a check, which when the wind is hitting this, it's applying force that way. So I come out here and I pressed real hard on it with my left hand, And with my right hand, I was operating the windshield to go up and down, so it is operating smoothly. So I'm going to call everything a success on this this little endeavor. Again, all the credit to the idea and the process goes to the Australian Concours guys. They were the ones that figured it out. So they got some good information. Anyhow, I thank them for doing all this, but this is the first video of how to do that modification to a Concours out there. Anyhow, I'm going to call it quits on this video and get it posted as soon as I can. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see you on my next video.